Sometimes we just need to let our hair down, pick up a controller and unleash some lead and spill some of the red stuff. But sadly, due to the current state of AAA gaming and the games industry in general,
now we have to spend $10 for fucking blue? For fucking blue!
That's easier said than done. And that's why the first episode of our 360 Hidden Gems is the Blood and Bullets edition. 5 hidden gems that let you cause some therapeutic carnage. So why not let me be your guide into the hidden gems you may have overlooked. And make sure you stay till the end of the video to find out how you can win a hand-picked bundle of hidden gems delivered straight to your door. If you're a lover of video games, movies, or pop culture, then consider quickly giving us a like and subscribing to the channel.
I'm making Harlem. Where's my skull? That bitch has got my skull, and I want it back. Where's my skull?
Would someone get this man his goddamn skull? Yeah, love it or hate it, this is the game which sees our boy 50 Cent and the rest of G-Unit fighting terrorists in the Middle East. If that sounds stupid to you, well that's because it is. And that's kinda a lot of Blood in the Sand's charm. Blood on the Sand is the equivalent of a big, dumb 80s action movie. It's loud, brash, and unapologetically violent. Blood, bullets, explosions, and copious amounts of swearing all make up the backbone of this game.
Step up, pussies! You want some of this, huh? This is war, bitch!
Blood on the Sand is your typical third-person shooter. All the mechanics are here: cover-based shooting, blind fire, regenerating health, and dodge rolls. Think Gears of War with a lot more bling and hip-hop influence. The whole thing is a silly but extremely fun time. Add the fact the whole game can be played in co-op with a friend, controlling a member of G-Unit makes the game well worth picking up.
50 Cent, Blood on the Sand.
Wait, Jackie Ma, I'm in.
Find a way to make him trust you.
Not trying to outdo Rockstar's crime-filled open-world epics and instead focusing on bringing the player a thrilling, visceral, immersive, but most importantly fun experience is exactly why Sleeping Dogs is on my list. Distinguishing itself from its rivals with its Hong Kong premise, tense car chases, John Woo-inspired gunplay, and multi-directional combat similar to Rocksteady's Arkham games, while simultaneously managing to walk a fine line between Grand Theft Auto's over-serious realistic nature and Saints Row's over-the-top chaos, Sleeping Dogs was and still is a breath of fresh air. The game's story is gripping and you genuinely root for the characters as everything is extremely well written and acted. The city is bursting with tons to do and even has its own fight club. Everything in this game is just fun, from hopping from car to car mid-chase, mowing down tons of goons in Hong Kong cinema style. I mean, you can even use the environment as a weapon. I don't think impaling thugs on swordfish heads will ever get old.
Show these motherfuckers what it means to be Sun On Yi!
That's what worries me, Wei. You're one of them.
Doesn't have to die. I can help you. I can heal your wounds. We can save her if you show me some faith, if you trust me, if you put me on.
I'm not sure how many people remember the 1988 side-scrolling beat-em-up Splatterhouse, a game that was heavily inspired by slasher movies of that era. Well, 22 years later, Namco Bandai decided to reboot the franchise, simply titled Splatterhouse.
What's happened to me? We're a team now. You help me get what I want, and I help you get your girl back.
The game is a hack-and-slash beat-em-up adventure that sees our main protagonist Rick, upon his girlfriend being kidnapped, and with no other choice having to don the Terror Mask, an item that transforms our small hero into a hulking beast that needs a constant source of blood to survive. Luckily enough, there are endless monstrous experiments for you to tear your way through. If that sounds a bit metal, well yeah, it kinda is, and the game has a killer meta soundtrack to accompany all the blood and dismemberment. I'll admit, the game isn't the most polished experience, but makes up for its shortcomings with some slick visuals, creative design, and some disgustingly visceral combat. The game also packs a large amount of humor as the possessed Terror Mask attached to your character constantly talks and insults you.
Jesus, Rick, get it together. I asked you to trust me. First sight of blood, you're crying like a schoolgirl. For a dick, you are such a pussy. There, all better now.
If you're looking for some mindless fun full of crazy creatures and bosses, executions, shotguns, chainsaws, and a pretty unique regenerative healing process that lets you use your and your enemy's limbs as weapons, well, look no further. Splatterhouse is a bloody good time.
Give it up, Jackie boy. You ain't getting out of here alive, and you know it. Should've listened to your Uncle Paulie, Jackie. Now put him down, nice and slow.
The Darkness is an extremely mature first-person shooter that sees you take control of Jackie, an enforcer for the Mafia who upon his 21st birthday is cursed with the powers of the Darkness, an ancient demonic force that basically gives him venom-esque superpowers. But after being betrayed by his crime family, these powers may be more of a blessing than a curse. The game's story and tone is probably its biggest strength, and Jackie may be one of the most compelling characters in video game history, something that is enhanced by every loading screen in the game fleshing out the character.
Me and Paulie never did agree about the way things were being done. Paulie took the business into selling drugs, working side by side with the cops. When I was growing up, the family had codes. We did business. We looked out for the people. I believe we ought to honor those codes. Now Paulie, he's just a parasite. Wants to bleed me dry.
The game is also quite simply just fun. Using the Darkness powers is an absolute blast. You can unleash snake-like tentacles to attack your enemies, create black holes of death, and even summon goblin-like creatures to do your dirty work for you. But you're not some overpowered machine, as the Darkness is weakened by light, so shooting out light sources and consuming your victims' hearts is essential. I don't think there's any other games out there like it. Muscle-bound, armor-wearing badasses with motorized chainsaw weapons taking on an army of creatures trying to take over a planet? Nah, sorry, not talking about you, Marcus.
Ah, come on! Ah! Tempered in battle. We are the living weapons of humanity.
Warhammer. What is it good for? Well, a lot of things actually. Not only has the miniature tabletop war game been around since 1983 and still going strong today, the franchise has had a long history in video games too. RPGs, real-time strategies, first-person shooters, side-scrollers, and even sports titles. The franchise has dabbled in a bit of everything, but my favourite game of the lot is Warhammer 40k Space Marine, a third-person shooter hack-and-slash hybrid that sees you step into the shoes of an Ultramarine, a genetically enhanced super soldier, and your task is to wipe out all the orcs and later the forces of chaos that have invaded and overrun a forged planet. Not having to worry about the world building and instead having an already well established lore to build the game's narrative round, let the developers focus on making some extremely satisfying melee and shooting mechanics. The weapons feel ridiculously meaty and pack a real punch. They are quite awesomely varied too. You start with a standard knife, then a chainsaw sword, then you get the Warhammer.
Ranged weapon and is standard issue for a Space Marine. It fires self-propelled projectile rounds, the roar of which strike confusion and fear into the hearts of the enemy. Missing codex entry, chainsword. Captain Titus of the Ultramarines will demonstrate its effectiveness in combat.
The game does make you feel like you are an unstoppable powerhouse. If you're not smart and tactical with your weapons, you will be quickly overrun as hundreds of varied orcs chase you down.
Get off my ship, Space Marine!
If you're thinking, I'm not a big fan of the property, well, it really doesn't matter, as the story is still really interesting and all the voice acting is strong. Orcs in the game all have over-the-top British accents too, which makes for some laugh-out-loud moments.
I'll rip your guts right out your throat!
With the second game recently being announced, there's no better time to go back and try this little gem. And that's my picks. Right, so that's part 1 all wrapped up. Part 2 will be out in a week's time. If you would like to win some hidden gems for your collection, well, all you need to do is tap the like button and the subscribe button, then comment subscribed, followed by your favourite Xbox 360 game or memory. And once the video hits 1,000 views and 100 likes, we will choose one lucky viewer to win some goodies. So make sure you share the video as much as possible. I'm Rob, I've been your host, this is the Biddy Beer Bro Show, thanks for watching, and until next time, you stay tipsy.